Hello, dear ones, this afternoon. There are a lot of things going on, and I do wish to discuss a bunch of them. So before we start, it's always really important to bring up the grounding cord. And imagine a crystalline grounding cord. You can have it as clear crystal, a pink crystal, or shot with various colors and textures and rainbows inside of crystal. And just imagine it going all the way up into the sun. So you're grounded to the earth and the cosmos. We ground you into the earth. We ground you into spirit. We do this because it's really important to feel connection. Connection with your spirit, connection with your earth. So your physical body feels safe and your spirit, the whole rest of you, feels safe as well. So make this grounding cord not as wide as you, but as wide as the room you're in. And if you'd like to expand it, as wide as the house that you have. And if you're close enough, make it as wide as where your car is. And if you don't have a car, just don't worry about it. But just feel it going all the way up. And just now allow the white Christed light to come down through Arian, out through my hands and into yours. You can put your hands out and really just let it come into you. Let it come in and feel it wash through all of your body. If you're feeling overwhelmed and upset, or if you're feeling ungrounded, you're feeling unable to do things, or that the world seems to be coming at you. There's a question about something like that coming up. And what I'd like to say, and I'm just going to let the white Christed light run through you. Feel it running through your body. Feel it running deep into every cell, every pore, every molecule, every atom of your body. Feel all of you sucking up this tremendously high level energy so that you can release what is below it and let it go. Okay, and as you're doing this, I'm going to talk, because I find that grounding is really very critical today. And here is what I mean. Last week there was a crisis in the Supreme Court issue, and people were extremely upset. As is very typical these days, this country is very, very split. It is completely knife-edge split. And what has happened is that every time something horrible happens, everyone's grounding disappears. And it's actually more than that, because I'm actually looking at the United States. And I'm going to use the United States as an example. But by the way, I will say it happens in other places. But the United States is really a textbook example, or the petri dish of experimentation of what is going on in cosmic forces. What's happening grounding-wise is that there is no grounding. And a lot of people were very, very upset last week. And one of the things that I am aware of is that if you are looking at this country, nobody is on the planet, on the earth. I'm stomping Arian's feet. No one is there. Everyone is floating around or jumping around. The energy is making it almost impossible to ground. It's like there's this pad, this thick pad of non-acceptance or cancellation, not allowing grounding. And it spreads all across the country, and it's also going to Mexico and to Canada and going around the world. But we're looking at this country first here. And what that means is all of the craziness that is going on is not allowed to get released. So what this whole country needs is to remove that pad and ground. One of the reasons so many people are doing so many crazy things, saying horrible things, acting in crazy, unacceptable ways, is that they don't feel that they are responsible. And they have no responsibility for themselves or what they do because they're not grounded, because they don't have this sense of you are here on this earth and you have responsibility for what you say and do. When you're ungrounded, you're out of your body, you can do and say whatever you want and get away with it, like someone in Washington with orange hair. So what we need to do right now is to call in some planetary guardians who are really, really needing to do this and remove, peel off, roll up, destroy that grounding, preventing pad. It's about 6 inches thick, and it's kind of, it's very textured. It's almost like rubber. So you bounce on it, you think, oh, I'm really grounded, but you're not. You're bouncing like this. So let's pull it all off. And start from the west and go all the way to the east and pull it off completely. It rolls. It's like a enormous pad that you have under your carpet, and it rolls off. And when it does, let's just ask the planetary guardians to send it into the sun to be recycled. It's been put there by people, beings, energies that do not like the idea that you can think for yourself, that you can not be controlled, that you have a choice, that you matter, that you have rights. And unfortunately, there have been many in this country who are in power, who would absolutely foster that, because it means they would lose power. And they are desperate to hold on to power. So at this point, let's imagine, let's call in the planetary guardians, let's call in angels, let's call in the white Christed light to lay down a grounding cord, humongous grounding cord all over the country. I do want to say something about this ungroundedness. In California, the grounding cord was about 4 inches, so less. In the middle of the country and in the south, the grounding cord was about 1 foot thick. So it's really important. They really, really wanted people not to be connected to the earth at all. So it wasn't that the grounding cord was flat, even. It wasn't. It went, on the west coast it's thinner. In some parts of the Colorado it was thinner. Some parts of Idaho it was very thick. Arizona was bumpy. But the more you went into the heartland and into the south, it became thicker and thicker. And in the north, it was a little bit frayed here and there. And some places were very thick, other places weren't. So remove it, release, and allow. Now let's imagine the earth like a huge magnet and pulling everybody onto it. Thump. As you can see from Arian's body, she got the reaction. And maybe David did too. No, but he wouldn't know because he's an engineer, and engineers don't feel that kind of stuff, he said. So, but he may not be aware of it. But engineers, even though they spend most of their time in their heads, they're still human. They feel it. They just don't know it. Okay, this is my comment about engineers. Arian's laughing because she knows that people feel a lot. Okay, so now, we've just turned on this huge earth electromagnet, and it's going to stay on. And now we are going to force people to be on the earth, whether or not they wish to, or whether they are fighting it, because being on this planet means you must be on this earth. And one of the reasons why that dire, horrible global warming report has been ignored is because people have been away from the earth, and they could feel that they had no responsibility, and that's not true. Everybody has responsibility. And so just feel that going down into that earth. You are responsible for being here. You have responsibility to the earth, to other human beings, to life. And we can even imagine running green energy, not gold, but green, forcing people to feel the nurturing spirit of earth, forcing people to feel that they are part of this. They don't get to enjoy their part of the world without responsibility. This is very important, very important. Now, I did a very brief thing last week on weaving, and I said that, and this by the way ties in directly to what I am talking about with grounding. I said that the Antichrist energy in this country has woven their version of events and prevented other people from doing their work. And one of the reasons was, of course, because everyone was ungrounded. So I'd like you to imagine that all of the people who are acting out of integrity, out of higher wisdom, out of the highest interests of humanity and well-being, imagine that they have created a tapestry in front of you. It goes across the whole country, and they have created their version of what is so. And everyone else has not been allowed to weave anything. And so what I am calling on is all of the planetary guardians and the angels to take cosmic fire, you know, whether you believe it or not, I see it, it's very strong, and to go through this whole tapestry that they have built, they have woven, and burn through this tapestry with the cosmic fire. If anyone has integrity, if anyone is working for the highest good of all humans, for humanity, is working from a place of love and deep soulness, let any of that remain. And anything that is out of integrity, out of it, using the word greed, in greed, not for the best interests of all, but only for themselves, and is hurting, deliberately hurtful and nasty, let that all be burned off by this cosmic fire. I think you will find quite a bit of it goes. Okay, now remember, I've been having you run the white crested light all this time. I didn't stop it. There was a reason, because I know that this work was very powerful, and this work was going to seem to unground you. But also, using the white crested light, you also participate in this as well. So anything in you that has been out of integrity, not for good for humanity, not open to highest wisdom and love, let that all be burned out as well as this energy gets cleared, as this cosmic flame go through you, flame like that, half fire, half flame, cosmic fire. Okay, so I have a couple of questions that I would like to address. And I know this has been pretty intense. Okay. So the first question this person was asking about was how everything seems to be falling apart. No, does that sound familiar to everybody? And the reality is, when everything falls apart, you know that something is going wrong. Not wrong, going on in a different way. It's like your spirit is saying, okay, this isn't working anymore. We're ready to make the next step, the next movement, the next level. So this is why I start, this grounding is really connected to this, because grounding is one of the important things here, that you have to ground into the earth. Ground all of yourself, all of the things that have happened to you that are suddenly falling apart. Ground everything into the earth. As soon as this kind of thing happens, you know that you are ready for another level of being, for a new, entirely different experience. And so what is important here is the first thing to do is ground. Ground, ground, ground. I need to ground. I need to bring all of that energy that's everywhere, find my space, get myself centered, and then start literally combing all of this stuff out of your space so that you are clearing all of this craziness, this, what happened here? Huh? What? Wait a minute, what's going on? And if anyone is sending you negative energy, you feel that they are, a lot of it is because you're feeling ungrounded and you're not, and that's just an emphasis that this isn't the place to be, or this isn't the thing to do, or this isn't the reality, this isn't the path that you want to travel. So you need to take some moments to just calm down, ground. Bring your highest self into your heart. Bring all of your energy back to you. Call it back. Send out that whistle. Come on back. Come on back, and let it surround you. And then go through let it be washed with gold light, so whatever comes back to you is clean, pure, and untarnished by anybody else's energy. And then you can fill yourself up with your energy. When you do that, make sure you're grounded to the earth, to the cosmos. At that point, you say, obviously, what I needed to do and how I needed to live has terminated here. Open me up to my next step. Many times, this kind of dramatic happening is because your spirit wants to make it, to emphasize that this change is very important. It also wishes to have you get it. Lots of times we fudge. We say, I got kicked out of my house, or I lost my job, or but I'll find another one, or I'll find another place. And you sort of, but when everything goes wrong, boom, 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 house, job, love, relationship, everything. At that point, it's like your universe is saying, stop, 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 stop. This isn't right, this anymore. It might have been right a month ago, but we need you to do something else. We need you to be in a whole different position, a whole different place. And that is what you need to be aware of. And you can't see it. You can't get to it. You can't be aware of it. You can't focus on what's coming next if you're ungrounded. And If you're ungrounded and the earth around you is ungrounded, there's nothing there. By the way, it just occurs to me, I didn't mention anything about Alaska or Hawaii and this padding. That also got cleared as well, even though I talked about California. It really covers the whole country. It doesn't ignore the extra parts, the continental part. When that got cleared, the others did as well. Anyway, all of a sudden they came up and said, "Wait a minute, what about us?" So what I am saying here is, dear ones, drop into yourself, call in your higher self and say, okay, you have emphatically stopped. You put a period to this part of my life. Let's open the door, or let's turn the page. Let's find the door to the next place. So one of the best exercises, meditation exercises, is to imagine saying, okay, I'm now on this side of the closed door, and there is this corridor in front of me, and there are several doors on either side and up ahead. I don't know if I'm going to go straight or if I'm going to go off to one side or another, but I need to walk down this corridor right now and go down to the other door, pass each of these other doors, look here, stop at each doorway and say, is this the door I'm supposed to go through? Then do the next one. Is this the door I'm supposed to go through? And so on down the line. Because really and truly, dear ones, whenever, and if you want to even be more adventurous, you can say, I'm opening the door and seeing what happens next. So for that person who asked about whether she should go to Denmark, the answer is, if you are getting it that strongly, do this exercise with the doors. Check it out and say, if I go to Denmark, should I go here? Is that one of these doors? Is that one of these doors? Go to each one. Say, is this where I'm supposed to be next? If it is, you will suddenly feel that, whoo, in that direction. You know, when this is a really perfect example, because when you have emphatically everything falling apart, leaving the country sometimes is the very best thing to do. Okay, I think that's all I would like to say about this. So, dear ones, keep your grounding going. Keep asking that tapestry of unrighteousness and out of integrityness get burned, and in its place, I need to come back to this, in its place, ask that you can build, that you can weave a tapestry in integrity, a tapestry in wisdom, in love, that covers not only this country, not only North America or South America, but the whole world, but for the whole hurting, direly, dangerously ill planet. Thank you, dear ones. Oh, one more thing. Okay, let's just ask that this white Christed light, which has been doing all this work for us, close your hands now. Check your grounding. How you doing? If it's there, if it's not, get it back down again. Remember, you have the right to be on this planet. So does everyone else, including the animals, the trees, the flowers, the rocks, even the insects. I don't like mosquitoes, but they all have a place in the larger picture. And we do not have the right, humans, to disrupt their lives. Okay, thank you, dear ones.